Hey, it's Randy, here in the garage. What I've got in the work stand today is my Schwinn straight bar clunker. You may remember this bike from a few videos back. Uh, this is the frame that, with this particular fork, this straight bar didn't set level, and that just bugged me. So I cut it, lowered it down to where it'd be level, and welded it back together. So I've only ridden it a couple times though. I don't know, I just haven't really been riding it, and I think the reason why is because it's single speed. I just like to have gears. So I thought I'd convert this to a geared bike and see if I ride it anymore. I'm going to start by taking the wheels off. So I picked out a rear wheel. Now I'm going to widen the rear triangle so it'll fit. And to do that, I'm just using an axle with the washers and nuts. This is a slow process here. I got that spread as far as I can go. I've maxed that axle out. So I'm going to pull that out, and hopefully that's enough and our wheel fits. Now, if you look close here, you can see now our dropouts are out of line, that gap in there. So I'm going to have to straighten these dropouts. I've got my homemade dropout alignment tool here. Okay, I'm going to call that good. Now I'm going to go ahead and move these tires over to this wheel set. Well, the front wheel I grabbed, I don't think I'd ever used before. My first clue was it had a reflector on it, which I always take those off. Also, the axle bearings was a little crusty, so I'm going to take that apart and grease them and put it all back together. Got the tires mounted, greased and adjusted this hub so it spins a little less crispy than it did before. Now to get them put on the bike. Get a derailleur mounted on there. Maybe we'll give this Sun Tour shifter a try. Let's see, and we're just going to do friction shifting. So normally the wheel axle will be slid more forward and a bolt goes through here and through the dropout with a special little nut on there that holds it in place. But we need all the room we can get in here, I think. But I want this wheel slid back as far as we can go. So really you don't even have to run a bolt here. I think it's mostly just to keep the derailleur in place when you're taking the wheel off. It just makes it easier. I mean, I could just tighten this down and we could run with it. But I think what I am going to do is maybe drill a hole into the dropout here and just run like a self-tapping screw in there to hold it in place. Okay, we've got a 6-speed freewheel back here. So I think that means I'll be able to run a 1-speed chain and won't have to change out the crank. I think. I just don't know if this particular chain is going to be long enough. We'll give it a go. High limit screw. Adjust it out as far as it'll go. Whoops. And it's not dropping into the smallest cog there. I think it may have to do with the alignment here. I'm going to see if I can bend this. So I'm not able to get this one to work. Sun Tour. Got an old Sun Race here. I guess I'm going to give it a try. So let me get that mounted and then I'll check in after that. Yeah, put this other derailleur on there, Sun Race, and I think it's going to work. This setup's not ideal. I'm not even sure about running a single speed chain with the 6-speed and through the derailleur. Before I get the shifter hooked up, I'm going to go ahead and lock this derailleur in place. Got this little self-tapping screw I'm going to put in there. And like I said, that just holds the derailleur in place whenever you take the wheel out. So I gathered up a few shifters. I think we'll give this one a try first. So I've extended these handlebars so there's little bulge there where it's welded together. Come on. There we go. I want to make sure this is going to work before I put the brake lever and grip back on. Okay, I'm going to get some cable and housing and get that all hooked up and then check in after that. Well, that shifter didn't work out. It didn't have enough pull, I guess, to pull all 6 gears. So maybe it was for a 5-speed. I did find this shifter though, which is indexed for 6-speed. But what are the odds of this being compatible? There's no brand name on it and running a Sunrace derailleur. But then again, I think only 6 speeds would be pretty forgiving. So I don't know, we'll put it on there, see if it works, but that'd be pretty cool to have a indexed 6-speed. Hey, all 6 gears. I painted up some zip ties to hold these cables in place. Well, there we have it, a single speed to 6-speed conversion. So I think tomorrow morning I'll write it down to the single track and play around with it. So if you want to come along, just stick around. Good morning. I'm here at my local single track trails. I'm going to ride a couple laps, but first up is coffee.
You know
Let's do a quick recap the changes we made in this video. So I swapped out the single speed wheel set for this one that has a 6-speed freewheel. Ended up with this Sunrace derailleur. Oh, we did have to widen the rear triangle and align the dropouts to get that wheel to fit. And just lucked out and had this 6-speed index shifter that was compatible with that freewheel. Then again, you know, I suppose 6-speed is pretty forgiving. I don't know. Anyway, worked out great. Pleased with that. So the gearing worked out great. I've got at least one lower gear than I had and several higher gears. And that lowest gear is just perfect for these trails. And then I got plenty of gear options to get me home. Good times. I think I'm going to make myself one more cup of coffee and then make my way home. So I guess I'll just end this video here. As always, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video.